Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Luke Papala Show. Very excited to be back with everyone tonight. We have lots of big news to discuss, so let's do it. We're going to kick off this episode by talking about a potential collab between Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. This is huge. If you remember all the way back in August, July, I think it was, Nick and Tucker and Candace Owens were in a kind of like a triangular feud. And this was crazy because Candace and Tucker accused Nick of being a Fed. Tucker had this infamous clip where he called Nick a gay kid living in his basement, demeaned Nick and all of the Groypers, and kicked off this insane tirade by Nick Fuentes. I mean, Nick just destroyed the both of them. And ever since Charlie Kirk died, Nick Fuentes has been this guy, this transcendent figure in right-wing politics. Whether you like him or not, he is undeniable. And America First is inevitable. So why, you may ask, why are you saying that Nick and Tucker are going to do a collab? Well, Nick is in the middle of a generational run, an absolutely generational run. I mean, this guy's 27 years old. He has been on the far right, banned, censored from every live streaming platform and every social media platform, really, and he's still banned from creating a personal account. We'll get into that in a second. But allow me to just put something on screen here that shows you. So Alex Jones, another ally of Nick Fuentes, has had him on the show like 20, 30 different times. A big supporter. Alex did an interview with Tucker Carlson. Tucker had Alex Jones on his podcast. And people, of course, Groypers in the chat, Groypers tweeting at Alex, were saying, when are you guys going to set this up? So here we go. This is the screenshot where it's been implied that there's a collaboration in the works between Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, and Nick Fuentes. So here we go. So Tucker posted, this was an hour ago, but this happened 24 hours ago. So 24 hours ago, Tucker posted the podcast with him and Alex on X, right? And a Groyper account right here says, "We know Alex asked you to debate Nick Fuentes. Why won't you do it?" Alex Jones says, "It's coming." Okay, so that's one. That's one. Then, on top of that, Alex doubled down and he insisted that a Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson collaboration is coming soon. So, again, we have Alex saying it's coming, and then that Groyper account. Groypers love you, Alex. Thank you for all you do in the world and for Nick. Alex says the Nick and Tucker interview is coming soon. Okay, and if that wasn't enough evidence, I actually have more evidence. So Nick's been on this generational run. He's been doing a bunch of collaborations. Biggest one probably so far is Dave Smith, although he's been on Bradley Martin. He's been on Patrick Bet-David. It's all been... Patrick Bet-David's probably the biggest one, but it's all been huge. He's doing all of these collaborations. He's getting more exposure. People are saying it's either Rogan or Tucker. But now he's on the road, and he's doing a podcast. He's doing an episode away from his studio, and listen to what he says about a potential collaboration. With who, we don't know, but we can guess. So here's that clip.
Next week, we got a big collaboration. I might be doing another show on the road Monday. Tuesday, we got one you guys have been waiting for a while. It's going to be a little contentious, but it's going to be good. Tuesday night. So I'm, generational run. No brakes on this train. No rest. No brakes. 6 million miles an hour. Okay, but we're going to take a look at our super chats. I'm just going to...
Okay. Read between the lines. It's been in the works for a long... We've been waiting for this for a long time. It's going to be a little contentious. A Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson collab is finally happening. And we're making this the lead subject of the show today. Just because it's so crazy. I mean, if we're going to go... I do want to go back. I want to go back specifically to that Tucker and Candace, that clip where they were both talking about him. And they dedicated about, I would probably say 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this podcast episode where Tucker Carlson had Candace Owens on. And they're talking about Nick. And it's that infamous clip where Tucker's like, this weird gay kid, this Nick Fuentes, this weird gay kid, is actually undermining the white men that he claims to represent. Obviously, it's infamous now. But here's that clip. So this was all the way back in August. And Now to see a potential collaboration, it is so insane. But here's that clip.
That's obvious to me. I've been around a long time. I know it when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like I truly, like we almost said, like we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. I mean, that's how good of an experience I had.
Clearly it's
and then it was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from like a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he like just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's
that could be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Or it's what you're saying, where he does this, he's lying to everybody and pretending that things are one way when it's not. I can say
why is he attacking Joe Kent, who, I mean, Joe Kent worked as a CIA contractor, paramilitary contractor. He was in the U.S. military for years fighting our neocon wars. And his wife was killed in Syria in one of those wars. Joe Kent is the single most sincere critic, and I would say the one with the most credibility in the United States to say this foreign policy is bad. It killed my wife. I was a part of it. Joe Kent is actually someone the CIA doesn't like at all because he understands how it operates. And for Nick Fuentes, who's like some child from Chicago, to go after him specifically, one congressional seat in Washington State.
It is random.
It's not random, though. It's the opposite of random. Joe Kent was number one on the list of people they wanted to knock off, people who believe in our neocon foreign policy. They wanted Joe Kent out because he could stand up and say, I actually know. I've got the receipts. My wife was killed in Syria. You had to take that guy out. And Nick Fuentes, this child, this weird little gay kid in his basement in Chicago, is participating in a super PAC to bump off Joe Kent. Like, I've been around this my whole life. I know what that is. It's just an organized effort.
Yeah.
And he also did the thing that David Duke always did, including to me, which is be like, oh, yeah, it's my friend. And everyone's like, oh, Tucker Carlson's been endorsed by David Duke. I've been making like the anti-racist argument my whole life.
Right.
Like, I'm not for David Duke. Do I think David Duke is right when he's against affirmative action? You bet I do. But I'm not for David Duke. But David Duke would try to discredit people by hugging them. And that's exactly what Fuentes did. He goes out to meet all these people, show up, hi, I'm Nick Fuentes. Can I get my picture with you? That's a campaign to destroy credible voices on the right.
Okay, so we remember that clip. Not engagement farm, not the clip farm, but this is all for context. Okay, so you see that. You remember we have our little refresher. We're good. We can move past that. And so Tucker, what he did by saying that was infer that Nick Fuentes was a CIA plant. And he went on to reaffirm that belief in the episode. Obviously, Nick went on to destroy him, dedicate a whole podcast episode specifically to exposing Tucker Carlson and his connections to the CIA. And why was he visiting the area where the Contras and the Sandinistas were fighting? He was with, I believe, it was armed Contras in this area when this whole conflict was happening. And there's a picture of him with the guns. I'm not going to pull it up, but he has them. And then there was the inconsistency with Tucker Carlson saying, well, I didn't know my dad was CIA. I didn't know my dad was CIA until after he died. But then in 2023, with Sean Ryan, he goes on to say, yes, my father was in the CIA. So the inconsistencies on Tucker Carlson's end, they weren't adding up. And it's going to be so exciting to see this debate play out, right? The biggest voice in conservative politics at the moment. One of the biggest podcasters in the world, obviously. But the biggest voice in conservative politics in general. And then you have Nick Fuentes for the first time, mostly, for the first time, we are going to get a legitimate far-right, alt-right figure being met by a mainstream right-wing figure. And these views are going to be acknowledged. And they're going to converge. And I have no idea how long this will be. I don't know if it's going to be in person. I don't know if it's going to be like Tucker's online and Nick's in the studio. Because I know he's in Austin about to film InfoWars. But I don't know, man. This is going to be really interesting. They're definitely going to talk about the CIA Fed stuff on both ends. Probably going to talk about Charlie Kirk. Probably going to talk about, if I would guess, Nick's views on race. I mean, listen, these views, despite how toxic they may be, they need to be talked about. We need to we have to revisit everything, because when you see this whole society, this whole world is predicated on lies for the most part. When you go through 2020, when you go through COVID, when you go through the BLM, all the riots and stuff, and you watch all this happen, and you think, if the government was lying to us about the COVID vaccine and where COVID came from, what else are they lying about? And it woke everybody up, or broke people if they weren't broken already from Trump running in 2016. But over the past decade, we've been gaining a lot of knowledge about how pretty much bullshit this whole system is. Whether you're on the right or the left, you can acknowledge this for the most part. And everything will be revisited. So I'm excited. I mean, this is coming out tomorrow. So when you see this, it's going to come out on the 15th of October. So the 16th of October, sometime in the morning/afternoon, we're going to get this collaboration between Tucker and Nick. Hopefully I'm not working, but I'll probably be working, so I'll have to watch the replay. But folks, what do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? As a member of the Groyper movement, I'm so excited. Nick is the #1 political figure, political commentator under 30. I mean, this guy is so knowledgeable, so intelligent. During the 12-day war in Iran, with Iran and Israel, and America, ultimately, he was so engaged. Things that I had no clue about, like Natanz and Fordo, and where Iran had their centrifuges and they were only enriching uranium at 60%, in all of this stuff, even to the point where he was talking about it's against Islamic doctrine to have a nuclear weapon. So this whole thing about Israel talking about, oh yeah, Iran's going to have nuclear weapons in a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year could be, but they're going to have, it's just not true. Just like that, tip of the iceberg. He is so intelligent, so knowledgeable about all of this stuff, and he's teaching an entire generation, 2, 3 perhaps, millennials, Zoomers, Gen Alpha. He is so intelligent. He is so intelligent. Yes, he makes the comments that are a little bit racist, a little bit sexist, but who isn't a little bit racist or sexist? I mean, let's make the argument. If we are to have freedom of speech, we've seen the far left for a decade be able to have freedom of speech in this country. And the mainstream platforms, MSNBC, CNN, CBS, Fox News, if they're making fun of these arguments, what they do is they let these people on. They let these people talk. For maybe the past 3 decades, 4 decades, the far right has not had a voice. The far right has been censored and maligned. And so guess what? Now the far right should be allowed to have that voice. And what better forum than to have Nick Fuentes debate Tucker Carlson with Alex Jones moderating? I am excited, man. As a political nerd, and I'm sorry to smack the lips, as a political nerd my whole life, ever since I was probably 10 years old, 8 years old, watching the Obama and the McCain debates and Obama debate Hillary. This is going to be so interesting. I am so ready, so excited for this. Can't wait to see how it ends, but very much looking forward to it. And what a way to kick off the episode. What a way to kick off the episode. I'm just so excited. Man, it's going to be good. And we actually have another story. Again, sorry to smack the lips. We have another story involving Nick Fuentes, and specifically what it's about is he was kicked off Spotify. Legit. So I'm putting a graphic up here, and it basically ranks the top podcast charts for Spotify on the given day. And this is accessible anytime, right? You can look this up. And so it was Nick, he started uploading the America First episodes to Spotify. And this happened to YouTube. He started doing it to YouTube, and within 24 hours, less than 24 hours, I think it was like 12 hours, YouTube banned his account. And of course, he's only, right now, you can only find him on Twitter or X and Rumble. That's it. Rumble is where he streams. You can find clips of him, and he tweets on Twitter. And of course, he has the exclusive Telegram for $100 a month. That's another thing. But he was on Spotify for about, I like to say that's like a little bit over 24 hours. And I listened to the episode. I mean, it didn't have the B-roll for about 2 hours that Rumble has because it wasn't a live stream. He uploads it, and he censored himself. To give whoever edited the episode, he censored it on YouTube. I don't think it was censored on Spotify, but nevertheless, about an hour 41, and he uploaded it, right? And he was doing very good. In fact, right here, America First with Nicholas J. Fuentes was #1 in the trending podcasts in the United States on Spotify. #2, Good Hang with Amy Poehler. #3, Joe Rogan Experience. #4, Candace. #5, The Tucker Carlson Show. He's debating Tucker tomorrow. Candace is his #1 enemy. Joe Rogan has yet to have him on, but I think it's coming. And Good Hang with Amy Poehler, I mean, it is what it is. But these podcasts, they fluctuate from time to time. Usually you'll have Joe at #1. I've seen the Good Hang podcast with Amy Poehler. It's getting more popular, but any of these mainstream celebrity podcasts, like, they go up and down, right? You have the Kelsey brothers one, and then you had Jason Kelsey's wife went #1. So a lot of these rise and fall. A lot of these have their moment, and then they sink. But the 3 consistent ones are Joe Rogan, Candace, and Tucker. And the fact that Nick, likely unknown on Spotify, no platform whatsoever, no infrastructure on Spotify, no audience on Spotify, immediately shot to #1 was insane. This is so crazy. Again, they had to ban him. It is what it is. It's unfortunate that he will only be able to post on Rumble and X and Cozy TV if they do ban him on Rumble. But folks, it's happening. The generational run is going to continue, and this movement is growing whether you like it or not. And you can't censor it. Everything will be revisited. At the end of the day, the core message is that America must come first. This is the same energy that in 2016 Donald Trump channeled. I didn't vote in 2016. I voted for Trump in 2020. I voted for Trump in 2024. He's not making the necessary changes that we wanted to see. Now, the Israel and Gaza ceasefire, or Israel and Palestine ceasefire, it's a step in the right direction, but we still aren't winning. Israel still comes first before America when it comes to a lot of these politicians, senators, representatives, even the president. And so that's the core of the message. Why can't we have the best? We're supposed to be the best country in the world. Why can't our people have the best? That's the core message. And more people, now that he's starting to break containment, are seeing this and empathizing with this and reaching out to see what he has to say. So that's the first part of the episode. I am just so excited for this Tucker collab. It's going to be really, really fun to watch and analyze and react to and talk about. But we're living in a great time. Freedom of speech is truly back. It's just, it's awesome, man. It's great. So really, now that we got the big stuff out of the way, I'm not going to talk about Tucker. We could do this one. Okay, so Ana Kasparian to transition. So excited about this episode. Ana Kasparian to transition, right? She's been highly critical of Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu, and rightfully so. She's recently went viral for calling out control of all of the propaganda. And so this is on Piers Morgan. I might not play all of it. We will see. But she called out Shabbos Chestenbaum, I think his name is. And Shabbos, if you remember, he was a speaker at the RNC back in 2024. But we're just going to play this for you and listen to how she eviscerates the competition. Here we go.
The Palestinians are going to have exactly the same human rights that you enjoy and I enjoy.
Absolutely. And I think I speak on behalf of the overwhelming majority of the Jewish people and the overwhelming majority of the people of Israel, where we say we want there to be a two-state solution. We want Palestinians to have freedom of movement, freedom of expression. The problem is Palestinians, like all human beings on planet Earth, possess moral agency. They can make choices in life. And unfortunately, way too many Palestinians made the choice in 2006 to elect Hamas. Unfortunately, not a single Palestinian to this day, even in the face of a $5 million reward, decided to reveal where a single hostage was being held. I wish that was not true, but unfortunately, it is true. I wish the Palestinian school system did not teach their kids that one of the greatest ideals you can do as a person is not become a lawyer or a doctor or a profession, but rather to kill Jews and take back an historic homeland that was never actually yours to begin with.
Anna, can I first of all commend you?
Oh my God.
Commend you.
So obviously she sees this as like, this argument's full of shit. And I didn't realize that music would come in there. But let's see what Ana Kasparian has to say now in response to Shabbos.
Really going to let him? They leveled Gaza. They literally have 10,000 people missing in Gaza right now as we speak, presumed dead, trapped under the rubble. Over the weekend, they recovered over 200 bodies. You want to talk about the IDF protecting innocent human life? Why don't we talk about the Hannibal Directive and how many Israelis the IDF shot and killed on October 7th? This is something that Yoav Gallant, the former military minister for Israel, foreign defense minister, came out and said that did happen. We would rather not allow Hamas to take these hostages and use them as leverage. By the way, that's the same Yoav Gallant who, after October 7th, said that the Israelis should not negotiate for the release of the hostages and instead engage in a military operation in Gaza, which is what they did. They've leveled the Gaza Strip. There's nothing for these Palestinian people to go home to. And you want to talk about how the Palestinians and Hamas have rejected offers for a two-state solution. After the clean break memo, after Netanyahu made abundantly clear that he would not allow for the formation of a Palestinian state, after the fact that every effort at creating a two-state solution was undermined by the Israelis, they don't want a two-state solution. The Likud's founding charter pursues the Greater Israel Project. They want that land. They're going to pursue that land. They're going to steal that land. And look, I am hoping that there will be lasting peace. But I'm also smart enough to pay close attention to what's going on in Israeli media. And based on what's being said in Israeli media, it does not appear as though there's going to be a lasting ceasefire. And I'm worried about that.
Boom! Completely eviscerated this argument that Shab has had. I mean, she's right. When you look at everything, this is pre-ceasefire, rather. So at this point in time when the episode comes out, who knows if Israel violates the ceasefire? Who knows if Hamas in Palestine violate the ceasefire? We don't know. All I can say right now, at the moment of this recording, the ceasefire is still being honored. But that doesn't take away from what Anna Kasparian said. She literally, to his face, to that whole panel's face, came with facts. Yes, when you look at 2023, Gaza is beautiful. I've said this before, I will say it again. Beautiful waterfront city, waterfront area, waterfront property. Beautiful, being maintained, a lovely civilization. 2 years later, all of the society is gone. The buildings are decimated, they've been blown up, they're ash. And the only people that you see are in tents and occasionally walking through. It went from a thriving civilization to hell. Truthfully. And she's pointing this out. And the people that continue to justify this, even after the ceasefire, are mentally insane. Who cares about your ethnicity and their role in who deserves the land? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, these are human beings. And Pope Francis was very consistent on this, and Pope Leo has been consistent on this. Despite what you may think about the Catholic Church and their leaders and the Pope, this is true. A life is a life. You have no right to be able to take a life, regardless of what religion you are. It doesn't matter. These are human beings. And again, I've went against these people for the past 2 years, it feels like. But the Ben Shapiros, who say it doesn't matter how old these Palestinians are, everyone's Hamas, everybody's a terrorist, they all deserve to die. It just doesn't, it's not a Christian perspective. This is not a Christian point of view. And listen, Anna, I don't agree with a lot of what she says. She's on the left, I'm on the right. Just how I identify with my political beliefs. I've been on the right since I was 8 years old. But she is very much on target, and I don't like women in politics usually, but if for some reason because Cenk, he can't run. He was born in Turkey, I believe. But if Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks was to be able to run for office, I would consider going against my beliefs about women not being in politics for this one, because she is so intelligent, she is so on point here. Yes, it's an emotionally charged argument because this is an emotional issue. Human beings have been sacrificed for the past 2 years. They don't know the actual amount of Gazans that were killed because they haven't went through the rubble and seen the bodies. All these people are missing, and I don't know where they went. So, Very much on point, very much on target. A big fan of Anna. Love watching her on the Young Turks. Obviously, love watching Cenk as well. But this is, she really took it to him. Anyway, but continuing on, she has been going viral because she, in the next clip I'm about to show you, has been going after Larry Ellison and the control of the Ellisons now that they have TikTok, that they purchased TikTok from ByteDance, the Chinese-owned company. And now that Larry Ellison owns TikTok, Paramount, and a bunch of other organizations, CBS to name a few, it's a problem, right? We can admit that this is a problem, especially because Larry Ellison is so heavily tied with the IDF in Israel and such a Zionist. And the thought is that, yes, he may be putting Israel's interests ahead of America. This isn't anything that's contested at this point. This is a big problem. And if foreign nationals or people that sympathize more with foreign countries over our own, they have our country, or they have our country's media. And we have a law now that you can use propaganda on the American people, and it is what it is. It's not illegal. And so Anna correctly points this out. She correctly points out that, Larry Ellison owning all these media companies isn't good. It's actually a threat to our security, our national security, and it's a threat to us that we be propagandized. But here's the video in question that has gone viral because, well, you'll see. So we'll play it now for you. Here we go.
Going around talking about like, yes, we're going to surveil everybody. Everyone will be on their best behavior. Yes, you're a freak. You're a total creep. Going around talking about like, yes, we're going to surveil everybody. Everyone will be on their best behavior. Yes, you're...
There it is. There it is. She did the meme. She did the meme. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If not, oh well. We covered this on the show, though, last year. She was beginning to get red-pilled. And now she's red-pilled on this issue in particular. Even though she is somebody on the progressive left, she has been speaking out against California, against Gavin Newsom, against all of the awful policies that have led to the homelessness crisis that there is, and that it led to Skid Row, and how it's a problem and nobody's addressing it. And that it needs to change. But more and more, I find myself really aligning with Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur as well. But Anna specifically, when it comes to the issue of Israel, I mean, she's very, very good. And so, if she's going to take the lead on this, then God bless her. I think more people on the right should, and I'm surprised more people on the right aren't. But we know why, because they're controlled by Israel and controlled by AIPAC. So, I mean, that is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be, but props to Anna. I'm going to keep giving credit where credit is due, because somebody has to do it. And so there's been a lot of talk about all of this progressive populism, right? And something crossed my timeline a couple of days ago. And this guy's name is Graham Plattner, okay? And he's running for Senate in Maine. And this really stood out for me because over the past decade, maybe even 2 decades, Democrats have been running on identity politics a little bit less than 2 decades. Let's say 12 years, 15 years. The Democratic Party has been running political candidates specifically with the intention of stoking identity politics. And they've been doing this by using racial tactics to rile up black people per se, or Hispanic people per se. And then it came to the LGBTQIA community, riling gay people up, riling trans people up, kind of identifying with those kind of causes. What they should be doing, what the Republican Party should be doing too, is going based off of classism. The middle class, the lower class, and the elites that have all the money and the power. So this is populism. This was Trump's appeal in 2016, 2020, not as much. 2024, a little bit different, but 2016 more so. He was a populist candidate. He was a self-funder. He didn't rely on all the PACs and all the donations. He literally funded his campaign and ran his campaign saying, our country's been decimated, especially the Midwest has been decimated by jobs going overseas. Things are not affordable anymore. I want to make America great again. I want to bring jobs back. and he broke America, and he broke the country, but he changed politics forever. And now, what the Democratic Party is doing, you have a couple things. You have the mainstream Democrats, like your Chuck Schumers, your Nancy Pelosi's, who, Hakeem Jeffries even, crazy. I thought he would be a star, but he's not. That are status quo. Just continue to do what they've been doing. You have the Zohran Mamdani, AOC, kind of Bernie Sanders wing that is progressive, right? They're just outright progressive Democrats, Democratic Socialists. And then you have a very bright spot, in my opinion. You have these Democratic candidates for Senate now, James Tallarico included, who appear on the surface to just be normal people. Now, maybe they are progressives in their nature and what they're running on. I don't know what Grant Plattner is running on, just to be fair, in Maine. But look at this political ad and tell me that you don't think he could beat the incumbent senator, who's a woman, I forget her name, in Maine. So here's Grant Plattner's political ad. I saw it on Twitter across my timeline, and it really resonated with me. Listen to him and just what he's saying.
Hey, Grant Plattner here, running for Senate up in Maine. I'm running against Susan Collins, AIPAC, Super PACs, the entire DC establishment.
Right here, okay? So automatically, what is he doing? This is brilliant. He's catering to the growing consensus of Americans that are realizing that most of our politicians are captured by Zionists in government, by Israel. And he said he's running against an AIPAC-funded senator, an incumbent senator, Susan Collins. Again,
AIPAC, Super PACs, the entire DC establishment.
Identifying the problem. A lot of people now are becoming single-issue voters, specifically voting against people that are, wait for it, funded by AIPAC, a foreign lobby. We don't want foreign countries to control our politics. It doesn't make any sense. Again, that's not America first. Very interesting. We're going to continue this.
Now, I know that Janet Mills just got in this race, and you're probably receiving a mountain of fundraising texts and emails. I'm pretty new to this politics thing, but I've learned something over the past few weeks. When you donate to Chuck Schumer, when you donate to the big Democratic super PACs, what they do is share their lists with candidates that they like. They put their thumb on the scale. And what they do is they use access to those lists of donors, those lists of people who have given, like yourself, and they use that to give it to the candidates that they like Janet Mills.
Okay. So I saw this. I saw this political ad for Grant Plattner, and I continued to just go along. I went back to his profile, which I'm doing again right here. Okay, so combat veteran. I like that. Marines and Army. Friend of the working Mainer, foe of the oligarchy, husband, candidate for the U.S. Senate. I mean, right here, we watched that ad. He doesn't appear to be the Democratic Party candidate of the past 5 years, post-2020. He doesn't appear to be overly gay, doesn't appear to be trans, playing into that identity politics. What are they shifting to? They're shifting to working class people. They're shifting to, as I said, class problems. Classism, shrinking middle class, the lower class. Pointing out that, yes, there are people at the top who are making a lot, and the corporations are being very much predatory to these middle class. Again, I'm on the right. I have no stake in this whatsoever, but I feel like it's very fascinating to see populist Democrats more and more, okay? And I pointed out how Mamdani was running a very good campaign, and I predicted he would win months ago. Look at this campaign by Grant Plattner, at least what he's conveying. Okay, so here's the pin tweet. Here's his original ad when he announces his run back in August 19th, when he's running for senator in Maine as a Democrat. Here it is.
What I love most about Maine are the people. I have never met people who are more hard scrabble, even in a place that requires you to work like 2 or 3 different jobs. We have watched this state become essentially unlivable for working class people, and it makes me deeply angry. My name is Graham Plattner, and I'm running for U.S. Senate in Maine to defeat Susan Collins. A decade of military service going overseas, farming oysters to feed my community, diving to lend a hand to other fishermen, trying to start a family. But everywhere I've gone, It seems like the fabric of what holds us together is being ripped apart by billionaires and corrupt politicians, profiting off of destroying our environment, driving our families into poverty, and crushing the middle class. I did 4 infantry tours in the Marine Corps and the Army.
Holy shit.
I'm not afraid to name an enemy. And the enemy is the oligarchy. It's the billionaires who pay for it, and the politicians who sell us out. And yeah, that means politicians like Susan Collins. I'm not fooled by this fake charade of Collins' deliberations and moderation. The difference between Susan Collins and Ted Cruz is at least Ted Cruz is honest about selling us out and not giving a damn. People know that this
Isn't that true?
system is screwing them. They know it in their bones. Nobody I know around here can afford a house. Healthcare is a disaster. Hospitals are closing. We have watched all of that get ripped away from us.
What he's doing is he's identifying the problems that everybody is talking to me about. We can't afford homes. In Maine, he's saying we can't afford homes. Hospitals are closing. I mean, if this is not a populist candidate, I don't know what is. Again, let's finish this.
And everyone's just trying to keep it all together. Why can't we have universal health care like every other first world country? Why
I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, but nevertheless, this is what people are asking.
can't we take care of our veterans when they come home? Why are we funding endless wars and bombing children? Why are CEOs more powerful than unions? We fought 3 different wars since the last time we raised the minimum wage. I'm not pretending to have all the answers, but I know that I'm asking the right questions. When I tell people around here that I'm running for Senate, sometimes the initial reaction is, what the but when I tell them why I'm doing it, because I truly do believe that we can build a system that is going to represent working people, the #1 response has been, well, thank God somebody's going to do it. You're supposed to fight for the things you love. This is our home, and I will fight tirelessly for it, for you. It's Mainers first, in Maine, always.
Excellent. Excellent. Again, I'm on the right. I'm not going to be voting in this election. But this guy, Graham Plattner, I'm a fan. I mean, listen, the only thing that I'm not sure about is the universal health care, because how are you going to give the same health care rights and privileges to a normal person, like anybody, right, compared to somebody that's 600 pounds, has abused their body for years, and is going to need more medical coverage than the average Mainer? It's just how it is. But again, that's something that can be worked out upon. The rest of this stuff, this guy, this is a breath of fresh air, okay? If he wins, I'm rooting for him personally. Again, I will keep saying this, I'm on the right. But if we can get more populist candidates on the right and the left into the Senate, into the House of Representatives, instead of these skeleton pedophiles that we have in Congress that are just going to defend Israel at endless lengths and are going to continue to make excuses for why the Epstein files are not being released. In addition to that, are going to pretend that everything is fine in this country and that the affordability crisis, the housing market crisis, all of this stuff isn't happening. It makes us feel crazy. And so these people claim to represent us, but they continue. I mean, we see, if you go on Unusual Whales, if you go on any stock tracking, trade tracking website or account, you can see what these politicians, like a Ted Cruz, like a Susan Collins, like a Dan Crenshaw, are making. And they keep selling the American people out. And it's something Patrick Bet-David said a long time ago, a couple years ago. He was talking about Americans when they live their lives. Eventually, some of them will be called to serve in the government, called to continue to preserve the republic that we have. And this guy, he clearly points out an objective to fight for Mainers first, to fix the affordability crisis, to be able to have homes be more affordable, for universal health care, to fix this problem of hospitals continuing to be shut down. He's a veteran. He's a blue-collar worker. This guy is working class, and he's literally running to support and work for the people that live in his community. I mean, he clearly points out that the state is becoming unlivable for his people, for people that live in Maine. And he's just a normal guy. He's not a cookie cutter politician that's never going to answer a question like Gavin Newsom or a Ted Cruz or any of these people like a Lindsey Graham. These awful people that just don't care about the American people. I'm all for this guy, man. It's a breath of fresh air. We need something different. We need more populist candidates. And this is a guy who I would support. I don't know if I would vote for him per se, but I'm certainly going to support him here. I hope he wins, truthfully, because even though he's on the other side, man, this is what we need more people to do. This is what we need more politicians to convey this message. It's a very good message, and I just followed him. So we need more people that are going to point out that, yes, these big corporations all holding the wealth, it's a giant problem. In the past, we would have antitrust laws, we would have these monopolies being broken up. But right now, it's a little bit of a different thing. But we'll see how it's regulated in the future. We'll see what happens. But Graham Plattner for Senate, he's got my support. So it's that really just refreshing to be able to see more candidates like this. I just can't get enough of it. So hopefully he wins. I have another candidate who I've been following recently. Her name is Valentina Gomez. And Valentina Gomez is currently running for Texas representative. And this woman is nuts. Absolutely nuts. A fiery Latina that kind of teeters on edgelord. Again, she's crazy. Now, what do I mean by this, right? Maybe you're hearing about Valentina Gonzalez for the first time, or Valentina Gomez, sorry, for the first time. I'm going to play you a couple videos that she's posted on her own. They haven't been leaked. They haven't been posted by other accounts. This is her, okay? So I'm going to play the first one. She's doing a little rap to promote her congressional run and try to entice voters to be able to vote for her. So here's that rap.
I am a
Okay. So she's trying a little bit too hard. Valentina Gomez appears to be a tad bit crazy. Now, there is a reason why one of my strongest beliefs is that women, for the most part, should not be involved in politics. You can see, by the way, the contrast between Valentina Gomez and the last guy, the populist senator from Maine that I just covered, right? You can see the difference between Graham Plattner and Valentina Gomez, right? Graham Plattner appears to be a legit person. Valentina Gomez appears to be somebody else. A clown, a skeleton, somebody that doesn't appear to be real. She appears to be a caricature, okay? But we have more and more things that she's been posting. So here's a video, and maybe I won't be able to post this, but here's a video that she posted specifically saying that she proposes public executions for illegal immigrants who kill or rape Americans. So this is a video that she posted. This is not a person. YouTube, this is a mannequin. I'm gonna blur it out over here so you don't see. She shoots a gun, and the gun is into the mannequin's head, as to say that she is supporting this.
It's that simple. Public executions for any illegal that rapes or kills an American. They don't deserve deportation. They deserve to be ended.
Again, I'm on the right. But this woman seems to be trying a bit too hard. Right? Maybe you're not convinced, okay? Here is Valentina doing something that I wouldn't say that I would do. Here she burns the Quran.
Your daughters will be raped and your sons beheaded unless we stop Islam once and for all. We're done turning the other cheek. Remember, David didn't pray for Goliath. He killed them. America is a Christian nation, so those terrorist Muslims can fuck off to any of the 57 Muslim nations. There is only one true God, and that is the God of Israel.
What? There's one true God, and that's the God of Israel. Notice how she threw that in there at the end? I mean, she just, listen, not a fan personally of the illegals, not a fan of having Sharia law in the country. Nothing against Muslims, per se. If Muslims want to be good citizens in this country, God bless them, let them. I mean, we do have freedom of religion in this country still. I'm a Catholic. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I don't believe that violence is the answer, per se, especially for people that are just practicing their religion. But notice that. The God of Israel is what she said. Huh. That's weird. Because, call me crazy, but we don't live in Israel. We live in America. What? I have another clip that she again posted from her account. Take a listen.
After speaking with the FBI and receiving thousands of death threats, I will be making my first public appearance this Friday at the...
Hold on. Time out. After speaking with the FBI and receiving thousands of death threats, she wants to act like these came out of nowhere. She wants to act like these death threats were benign. I literally just showed you a video of her burning the Quran. Burning the Quran! If a Muslim woman got a flamethrower and said, oh, you see the Bible? I'm going to burn it. And took the flamethrower to the Bible. Do you know how many Christians would give her death threats? This is a majority Christian country. There are much more Christians in this country than Muslims. Who knows if, in this hypothetical scenario, if the Christians would attack this woman. But it's not like she wouldn't have provoked them. Valentina Gomez provoked these people. So when she says, I'm getting thousands of death threats, there's a reason. Again, not justifying it. Nobody deserves to die. But this woman does not belong in American politics.
Oakland Ranch. Everybody's invited except for the little terrorists. Get ready to worship Jesus Christ and join me in my campaign to get to Congress. Law enforcement and the FBI are tracking on the event to ensure everyone's safety. See you in Grandview and God bless Texas.
Huh. Maybe that gets copyrighted, and if so, we're going to have that background music removed. But would you like to see her initial video of when she really became big? She has this pinned, and it is kind of funny. She infiltrated this this Muslim talk and speech in Texas. I'm just going to play this for you.
Islam is the religion of rape.
Okay. That's a little bit insane just to start off with. Maybe you want to have a little bit more of a moderate position if you're running for Congress. If you're competing against a Democratic candidate, you might want to have Texas is a little bit more blue than it was 10, 15 years ago. Maybe you want to win over the people on the left, but she just goes out and boom, condemns an entire religion.
This is the pedophilia where they bow down to a stupid rock and a false prophet. I will never let you feel lots.
Again, this woman is complaining that she's getting thousands of death threats. But we have to understand why she's attacking Islam so much. Why she's saying all these bombastic, outrageous things and trying to stoke fires. There's a reason. Valentina Gomez is owned. Owned by who? Owned by Israel, owned by AIPAC. Would you like proof? Here is the proof.
People are obsessed with the Jews and AIPAC when the real problem are the Muslims.
hold on. Graham Plattner, again, go a little bit back in the episode. Graham Plattner is running for senator in Maine, specifically against an AIPAC-endorsed candidate, saying we need to put America first. And he's a Democrat. This is important. He's a populist. Valentina Gomez is saying, oh, people are worried about AIPAC and the Jews, but we need to focus on the Muslims, who are 1% of the population. AIPAC funds and controls the majority of our politicians. AIPAC is a foreign lobby. AIPAC is doing all these things on behalf of a foreign country. If Russia or China had an organization where they were directly funding our politicians' political campaigns against other political campaigns of people that were actually trying to represent us, you would have a problem. But when it's AIPAC and Israel, of course, everybody's okay with it. But Valentina Gomez, who is running on the right, running as a Republican, by the way, is saying, hey, all this foreign influence, this obvious foreign influence by Israel, by AIPAC, don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to the Muslims. Why? Because the Muslims are the enemy of Israel.
People are obsessed with the Jews and AIPAC when the real problem are the Muslims. I voted for America first and for mass deportations, not for a bunch of Qatari Muslims flying fighter jets over our
That's ridiculous. The Qatari angle is entirely stupid.
schools, homes, churches, and even synagogues. Last time a Muslim flew a plane, it took down the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. So I'll say it again. Islam and illegals have no place in America.
So you know who controls her, right? So she's going with the edgelord shit. By the way, Valentina Gomez is not going to win. But I want to research something, okay? We're going to put this on the screen for you because I've seen this woman before. I think she ran another time. So we're just going to ask Google, how many times did Valentina Gomez run for Congress? And again, I'm a little bit slow here on the keyboard. Here we go. This is from Google's AI. Valentina Gomez is running for Congress for the first time in the 2026 election cycle. A Republican, she is vying for Texas' 31st congressional district. Before running for Congress, Gomez had political aspirations in Missouri. The 2024 Missouri Secretary of State race, Gomez ran in the Republican primary and finished 6th out of 8 candidates in August 2024. She didn't win. And all of these people, you would think these people would get the hint when they don't win the election. She finished 6th. So you would think that she would get the hint and try to do something else. She doesn't come off as genuine. She comes off as crazy. She comes off as controlled. She comes off as somebody that's obviously playing into edgelord traits, anti-Islamic edgelord traits. And she's not even identifying the correct issue. She's not even identifying any problem in how she wants to fix it. It's just all of this rhetoric, this anti-Muslim rhetoric, which is fine. You can have those beliefs. But she's literally not, I keep tripping over my words, but she's not giving any solutions. She's not saying what she wants to do. All it is edgelord shit. She's burning the Quran. She's posing with all of these guns, all of this stuff. And then goes, oh yeah, the FBI, just talk to the FBI. I'm getting thousands of death threats. You're not a serious person. You're not going to win a campaign. You don't inspire anybody. You are a woman. She's not a leader. I don't get it. I don't get it. And not even to say that all women would be bad in this. Now I'm backtracking. But most women shouldn't run. And this woman is playing into all of the stereotypes. She's trying too hard. She needs to go home. That's all I'm saying. Much different from Grant Plattner's campaign. Entirely different. And I think Valentina Gomez is a veteran as well. I'm not sure. I'm not going to look it up. I don't have the time to do that. We have much more to talk about. But the obvious placating to all of this edgelord shit, this is not who she really is. This is very fake. You can sense it. It's very fake, and it's not what we need. It doesn't even matter. This comes off as like Carrie Lake. Like, she's not going to win. There's no way this woman wins. And I guarantee she gets like 30% of the vote, 25% of the vote, and whoever she's running against is going to win. This is not This is not going to have legs. I'm sorry. This is not going to happen. Obviously, AIPAC is giving her a substantial amount of money, or they've given her like $20,000, and she'll perform for them. She'll do whatever they say, because this woman is obviously like scum of the earth. No, she doesn't. She literally does not have any talent whatsoever. Horrible candidate to put up. So I've got that out of the way. Like, I just don't understand why we have to continue to accept these horrible candidates that the GOP puts in front of us. It's just awful. Let's see here. I can do two more things. I'll definitely do this one. So Joe Rogan recently had Duncan Trussell on his podcast, and Duncan's a great host or a podcast guest on the show. Always great, always insightful conversations. And then the mass deportations, the topic of Trump's mass deportations came up. And Joe Rogan went on to condemn the mass deportations despite openly endorsing Donald Trump, who before he got elected said that he was going to do, wait for it, mass deportations. Here's the clip.
Let's just talk about the immigration thing. The way it looks is horrific. When you're just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years, that everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
No.
Everybody who has a heart sees that and goes, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be the only way to do this.
Right.
Because you have to think, look, yeah, we have to have a border. Yes, it should have been secure. Yes, they should make sure you know who everybody is before they get in.
Yeah.
But when people been here for 20 years, like, come on, man. That's crazy. Like, let's find a way. If they've been productive members of society for 20 years, no criminal record, they worked the entire time, they paid taxes, find them a pathway to citizenship. Find a way where you can do this thing that you want to do, which is keep terrorists and cartel members from getting across the border with drugs that kill 100,000 people a year. Okay, but also have a fucking heart. Because if you don't, you're not going to get anybody on your side. If you're doing this stuff publicly, throwing women to the ground, handcuffing people, just for existing on the wrong side of the dirt. Not a criminal. Not the only crime they ever committed was coming over here as a kid. They probably didn't even know what the fuck was going on.
Man.
You know, a lot of kids got snuck across when they were already born in Mexico. And they've grown up their entire life in America. They can't even speak Spanish.
All this while he's wearing a Catholic priest costume. Can we talk about that? How weird that is? Anyway, so Joe has taken a different tune here. He switched up his opinion. But where was he before all of this happened? Where was he when Trump was literally saying, we're going to do mass deportations? Where was he then? He was for it. He was silent, apparently. He had no issue with this. But all of a sudden now, for whatever reason, he's going back on it. And I guess the pressure is getting to him. I'm not sure. But it's this insane contradiction. Like, if you... Maybe he didn't realize that it would actually happen. Personally, I voted for it. It is what it is. I'm not going to give my opinion any further on that. But if you're Joe Rogan, you're an intelligent guy. You've been doing this for a long time. You literally came out and endorsed the guy that said, I'm going to do mass deportations. He said this for months, and he laid out how he would do it. He said it's been done before, all the way back in, I think he said like the 1920s, 1910s perhaps. But nevertheless, he referenced a point in time in the country where this was done. And where was the pushback again? Last time I checked, and maybe I'm wrong, nobody had a gun to Joe Rogan's head saying, you have to endorse Donald Trump. Like, right now, we're pulling the trigger and you're dead. Nobody did that. Nobody said that. He said yes, just what did he say? It was that tweet talking about, is he going to endorse Donald Trump? And they said yes, just to confirm, that's an endorsement. I remember the tweet. Go look it up. I'm not pulling it up here. But again, you were silent. You were complicit. You had no problem with it back then. But now that it's being recorded, and now that you see that some people dislike it, now you're taking an issue. A person with a heart. Where was your heart 9 months ago? Where was it then when he was campaigning on mass deportations? Like, some of these people that are liberal. And again, I'm for the mass deportations. I'm going to say it. Our country for too long has had an overrun of migrants that should not be here. It doesn't do a service to the people that came here legally and waited in line for years. Had to go through the strenuous process of being able to take all the tests, get approved, and become a legal citizen. Nevertheless, what the hell does that do to everybody else? Yes, these people are taking our jobs. And when I used to hear that argument growing up, I paid attention to politics. I paid attention to politics for a long time. But when I would hear this argument growing up from the people on the right, from the conservatives, some on the left, and they would say, oh, these immigrants are taking our jobs. And I would think, what does that mean? Are these people really coming from the southern border, from all these South American countries, from Mexico, and taking jobs? And for whatever reason, it never registered with me. But especially when you get to the Midwest, when you get to blue-collar jobs. Yes, these jobs, for the most part, the manufacturing jobs, have all been shipped overseas. But the remaining blue-collar jobs, if you notice, if you pay attention, if you take your head out of the sand, if you actually look around, a lot of these jobs are being taken by Mexicans. It's just how it is. And when you go up to them, the majority of them don't speak English. Okay, talk about the area I live in, right? I live in the Midwest, and over the past year and a half, 2 years perhaps, everywhere has had this Armstrong 5G cable installed in all the neighborhoods. The majority of the people installing the Armstrong 5G cables are, wait for it, Mexican. And they don't speak any English because I hear their conversations. And then you go up to them and you ask them, how long do you think you guys will be? How long will the yards be torn up? And no English. The guy that installed the Armstrong wireless internet in this specific studio could not speak any English. And when I asked, how long will this take? How many devices can I put on this network? Crickets. He had to have a little earpiece, and he spoke in 1 and 2, 3-word phrases to be able to convey a message to me about what I should do. And so that's another thing, obviously. You have the language barrier. If you have a country, you should have a common language so we can communicate with each other. But on top of that, these corporations are taking advantage, in this case, of cheap labor. And as a result, the people specifically in the Midwest that had these jobs, that occupied these blue-collar jobs for years, guess what? These corporations are paying the immigrants less, the migrants less, the people that shouldn't be here but they're illegally crossing through the border. And as a result, the Americans that were born here don't have a job, are jobless. And this is a problem. And so when Joe's talking about these people have been here for 10, 20 years, have a heart, what do you mean? My neighborhood, my town is decimated because of stuff like this. So what about having a heart for Americans that were born here? What happens then? It's a very contradictory statement, specifically because he came up with this argument a couple days ago. And when Trump, once again, was campaigning on mass deportations, which he hasn't done enough of, where were you? You were nowhere to be found. Where was this heart then? It's just baffling, man. It's very infuriating because he's claiming now that all this stuff is evil. And, well, why are you going to Home Depot? Because this is where these people hang out. This is where these people congregate. And these employers take advantage of the cheap labor, and they can pay these people $20 for a day. It's not right. And yes, I think we should punish the corporations too, 100%. But punishing them by taking away their cheap labor is a start. So, I mean, obviously it's not going to be done perfectly, but the fact of the matter is we have a real issue in this country, and this is the only solution right now. instead of coexisting with these people. Yes, we had anywhere from 10 to 20 million illegal immigrants pour in the Biden administration from 2020 to 2024. Nobody is disputing that. But that's the tip of the iceberg. And he didn't seem to say anything about that in this clip. So it's very upsetting, to be honest with you, because Americans that are born here, white, black, Hispanic, they're being taken advantage of, man. All the blue-collar workers that would have been here and would have been able to have jobs here that are legal, they're being taken advantage of. And this is one of the many reasons why the American dream is starting to become non-existent. Why do you think we have the housing crisis? Why do you think we have the housing crisis, right? One issue you could point to stems from all of these illegal migrants that shouldn't be here taking up homes. The government is paying for these people to live in homes. The government is putting these people up for free, also paying for their Medicare, also paying for all their benefits. And so when you have that, and you have the native-born Americans, the Americans that were born here that are legal, they grow up, and all the homes are expensive. Why? Because there's not enough of a supply for the demand. If you've taken an economics course in college, this is pretty basic. And so when you have anywhere from, I heard 55 million, this was given by the president, 55 million illegal immigrants here, to some people are saying 100 million illegal immigrants, because that's a little bit crazy. That's almost a third of the population. It's a little bit crazy. And they're all being put up in homes that could be housing Americans that live here that are legal, that could start families. It's a giant problem. And so maybe he's not thinking about that. Maybe he's appealing to his traditional, classical, liberal traits. Fine. But I think it's a mistake. I think it's a big mistake. That's going to probably do it for this episode. Yeah, we were going to do Innocent Villains with Shide, but he wasn't able to be here again. Also, it's a little bit late, but please subscribe to the channel. We put out a ton of great shit. Subscribe to the channel. Give the channel a like. Comment on the video. What did you think about the video? Did you love it? Did you not love it? Whatever. We're also doing memberships. Nobody's doing the memberships. They're super cheap, super fun. For as little as 99 cents a month, I move my hands a lot. I'm sorry. For as little as 99 cents a month, you can contribute to the Luke Papala Show, to the Innocent Villains podcast, to the channel overall. This will allow you to have a financial stake in the channel and allow us to be pushing out better content each day. For as little as 99 cents per month, you can contribute to all of that. So, if that is something you would like to do and invest in, please click the link. I have everything available on this channel if you just go to the memberships portion. Everything is available. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.